Moreland here. Today we'll be looking into my winter 2019-2020 forecast number 2. This is going to be my second one again. Disclaimer that this here will more than likely change. Now, number 2 was a little bit earlier than expected to be because we had the Jamstack updated a day or two ago. We also had the Kansas ball update, so we got some new data to show you for models. We also got new data from the ENSO region. That's where you have the neutral phase, La Nina and El Nino. That's what it's called for the ENSO region. So, also there's been an upgrade to my forecast maps here. So we'll take a look into that. Hopefully y'all like this better than my first one. There's been some changes with it. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and start with my forecast. We'll look into the ENSO. We'll be looking into the NAO, the AO, the PDO, and the current water temperatures. Would it be neutral, El Nino, or it could be a La Nina? El Nino is starting to come back into the picture, which can create a little bit confusion with forecasts here. Same thing for the PDO here. Can make forecasting a little bit difficult for the West, but the NAO and the AO both look to be having a good agreement for parts of the East, but the PDO and neutral and El Nino and La Nina, it's going to be pretty difficult than the first update. So yeah, y'all will see some changes here. So it's going to get started with the temperatures here. It looks better than my old maps here. We're going to have the legend down here. I did not create the legends on the other maps because those there actually take quite a bit of time. It took me over an hour to make 4 different maps here. So we'll first take a look at the temperatures. We got the West here is actually having a little bit of a heat wave. Could be a little bit stronger. Well, at least for warmer temperatures across the West here. We can actually zoom in, which is nice. The above average region could stretch for parts of the desert Southwest for parts of Oregon, Nevada, and California. We got slightly above average temperatures from Washington, Oregon. We also got it going along the west coast of California for parts of the Rockies down into Texas here. Now, where there's no color, that's equal chances, or you could call it average temperatures there. Let's move on into the blue here. This light shade of blue is slightly below average. It is actually for quite a few people here. You got a good chunk of the Northeast. You got almost everybody in the Southeast. You even got parts for the plains in slightly below average temperatures. Here in this darker blue, we got below average temperatures. That exists for parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, back through New York, Pennsylvania, parts of West Virginia, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Illinois, Missouri. Then it goes back up into the northern plains. We got the well below average region. That goes into effect for parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, and North Dakota there. Could see some well below average temperatures. Now, if we're going to see that, the lake effect zone could be a little bit questionable there. But at this point, lake effect zone could be averaged there. But that'll be in the overall forecast. So let's go ahead and move on into the precipitation here. It's kind of a mess with the slightly below average areas here, but we'll go through them. So we'll start with the Southwest here. We got below average precipitation for the desert Southwest up into California and Nevada. Surrounding that is slightly below average precipitation. There is also another area slightly below average precipitation for parts of the upper Midwest around the Great Lakes region. We also do have slightly above average precipitation now in effect for parts of the Northwest like Washington, Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming. Again, where you see no areas in any color, that's equal chances or average. Let's move it to the east here. We got slightly above average precipitation we got two areas. We got one area for Florida, got another area from Ohio to parts of the central plains that go southward down into Oklahoma and Texas. We got above average region for pretty much most of the northeast there, going back into parts of the southeast and the Mississippi Valley. We also have a well above average region for parts of the Appalachian Mountains back into the Mississippi and Arkansas there. That's where we get to see a converge of systems there where it could produce sometimes a lot of rain or it could produce a lot of snow. Basically, anywhere in this well above average could be where most systems, like from clipper systems or subsystems, even track something like this. We could have systems coming up like that. That could create a convergence somewhere in here. When it becomes a convergence with too low pressures, it becomes stronger for the Appalachian Mountains in parts of Carolinas or Virginia. Goes up as a coastal system there, brings in widespread snow up across the northeast there. But sometimes it can be a little bit too close to the coast where you don't see pretty much almost any snow for parts of the east coast there. You could probably just see only rain there or just a wintry mix. Snowfall forecast here. We have a little bit of changes. One of those changes is I think is the well above average area. It's been backed off a little bit, like parts of western Tennessee and Kentucky, southern Illinois, southern Indiana is not in the well above average region. It's been backed off into central and eastern Kentucky, all the way up into central New York State. That's pretty much almost the only change here. The slightly above average region kind of now extends for parts of the East Coast here now. And we got above average region in the blue, well above average in the purple. In the light blue, we actually do have some slightly above average snowfall now for parts of the plains, where we can see a few clippers. And now around the Great Lakes region, that's equal chances now. So it's been downgraded from the below average, slightly below average snowfall, and now upgraded to equal chances there. So you can now see either slightly above average snowfall or neutral or slightly below average there. That's going to be a kind of questionable area because for the potential of clipper systems that could try to come by there. Out west here, we actually do have a larger area below average snowfall from Oregon all the way back down to Nevada. Surrounding that is slightly below average from Washington all the way back down to the desert southwest of Arizona. There. We can expand here. Here's the overall view there. Now, there's been some changes to the overall forecast. Now, I don't have to go through two tabs. Now, it's all in one tab here. Here we go here. Pretty nice, doesn't it? So we're going to start out in the west this time. So in this light gray here, that's a flip-flop pattern. That's kind of be a questionable area here where we have some models bringing in the ridge up to the northwest, and there's some other models that brings a ridge for parts of the southwest. The west with the PDO, it's going to be kind of difficult here to watch, especially for precipitation. That's going to be questionable as well. I think we know the warmth will stay in the west, but precipitation is going to be kind of questionable, especially with low pressure systems going up to the northwest here. Could make a flip-flop pattern there. At least with the jet stream can go down like that. The desert southwest, however, is going to be staying warm and dry for the most part at this point. That includes parts of the Rockies and desert southwest, California, Oregon, Idaho, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado. In this white area here, that's coming sort of another questionable area, but overall I think it'd just be averaged there with everything. Snowfall, precipitation, temperatures could be mostly averaged in there. In this darker blue here, that's where we can see clipper systems to come by here. Basically what clippers are, they are also known as Alberta clippers. All they really do is just a weak low pressure system that comes by that can bring some snow along with it. We can have a few of those that could go by in that blue area. That's why there is a slightly above average snowfall area for the people that are in that blue. Let's move on to parts of the north in the Great Lakes region. That's where probably most of the very cold temperatures can stay at. We can also see, again, average lake effect snow up there. It's all about wind and water temperatures. That's all that really matters here. If you got warm water temperatures there, that could create some condensation of some snow. If you got very cold weather going on top of it, and then if you have the winds here pushing from sometimes from west to east or northwest to southeast, you get lake effect snow. You could potentially get tons of it, but at this point, we can see average lake effect snow. If we're going to have a polar vortex there, it's not going to create much of any wind there if you're going to be in central of high pressure there. This lighter blue here, it's going to be colder, but it's also going to be a little bit snowy as well. Now lighter blue. In this purple here, we got a winter battle zone. What that means, that's here between, you can potentially get some snow. You can also get maybe some cold. You could get a little bit warm. You could get a rain, basically. So it's just going to be a battle between cold and snowy and a little bit average temperatures or warmer temperatures and wet conditions there. That's where we could also see like wintry mixes in that area as well. The darker green here, that's the stormy area. That's where we can see average temperatures or maybe potentially slightly above average temperatures, and it's also going to be pretty wet as well. There could also be some severe weather to deal with as well in that green area. As the jet stream kind of goes in like this here, it starts to turn up into the northeast here in this black area. That's the jackpot. What that means, that's probably the best area for snow lovers, winter lovers, anything like that. It's going to be pretty cold and probably very snowy there. That's what we kind of call the jackpot there for winter. There, that's in black. Again, that's for parts from Kentucky all the way up into the parts in the northeast there. We can have low track, something like this. In this red here, that's coastal storms. We can have low pressures just along the coast there for the most part. It's what it's kind of looking like. Also where we have that convergence with low pressures here, it can stick around this area a little bit longer. Could get some more snow. That's why that jackpot's a little bit extended into parts of Kentucky and maybe even Tennessee as well there. Again, this red here is coastal storms there. That's where they're also named as nor'easters there. Y'all could get some snow. Y'all could get some rain. It can be windy up there. That's pretty much what overall that red area for coastal storms mean. Here's a zoomed out area here to take a good look here. Again, this will more than likely change here. We're probably talking about maybe 5 more updates there till my final forecast, possibly there. It could be less or it could be more. So yeah, that is my forecast. We're going to go ahead and start to move on into models, the ENSO region. If y'all don't care about that stuff, you can leave the video right now. If y'all really do like these maps, hit that like button. It took me a lot of effort to do this here. All this here, this took me at least an hour to do this. If y'all got any questions about these maps, you can put in the comment section down below. I answer every guy's questions. And we're going ahead and move on into the models here. One of those things is actually the Jamstack, and I accidentally left it on um, surface air temperatures here. You can tell here it's been a big change there. You can see it's below average temperatures for most of the United States here. We got a little bit warmth across the west there for parts of Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and California, and even Arizona there. Seems like Maine could be a little bit more neutral conditions there. Even parts of the north starting to show some above average temperatures there. That's something a little bit interesting there. Let's go to precipitation here. Basically, what we got going on here for precipitation from the Jamstack here, it's basically mostly everybody's above average except for parts of the south or southeast there could see some average or slight below average precipitation there. And sea surface temperatures here, this is going to be the main thing we got to watch here. Now, let's go over the PDO, the NAO, and the AO. So the AO region usually stays in Canada. The NAO usually is up at Greenland. The PDO will be in this region and here. What we got going on here, we got a negative NAO. That's also causing a Greenland block up here. You can see very warm sea surface temperatures up there, creating that colder air to be pushed down to parts of the central and eastern United States here. If we go ahead and go back to surface air temperatures, we also do have, I don't know if that's negative or positive AO. I'm going to guess that's a positive AO, where we got above average temperatures across Canada, which creates high pressure that keeps the cold air down south there into the United States there. If we go back to sea surface temperatures here, the PDO looks to be positive, which that creates warmer than average temperatures across the west and colder than average temperatures across central and eastern United States. This is a perfect setup from the Jamstack, a very brutal winter for almost everybody here. This is a perfect setup. You're going to have potentially a polar vortex for across the plains and the Great Lakes, very snowy conditions, possibly for parts of the Ohio Valley, the Northeast, and even parts of Southeast as well could see some very snowy conditions there, what that setup is looking to be. Even for parts of like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, maybe even Michigan as well, could actually see some slightly below average precipitation or even snowfall there. What this setup is kind of telling us here. That's just at least from the Jamstack's prediction here. Let's go ahead and move on to the North America view. To give us a good view here, let's see here. Let's average this thing out to winter. Ignore with these colors here. We're actually focused on the lines here. Now, what we got going on here, so let me go in and get my pen out. Give you all an idea of what the CFS is showing. If you look at 2 meter temperature anomalies, they're not really that great. But if you see the black lines here, these black lines here, very close to each other, if you see them like bumped up a little bit, kind of like bumped up, that's a ridge there. And when you see them bumped down, that's a trough. So basically the overall pattern is kind of going like this here, for example. And the ridge could be something like this, and then a trough, something like that. There, what the CFS is predicting. That's kind of like the jet stream there. So you got high pressure going on in this area. Here, looks like there's a positive NAO going on for parts of Greenland there. Possibly there. We're not 100% sure about that yet. There. But we can say there's a positive PDO. We also got kind of neutral AO there, and then NAO looks to be positive there. So that kind of creates very unstable weather pattern for some of these folks here. So it's kind of like a flip-flop pattern for everybody there, what the CFS is showing there. So we're going to exit out of that. So let's move on to precipitation here. So what we got going on here, we got slightly above average precipitation for across the west, southeast, slightly below average there, and then everybody else is pretty much average with precipitation. I disagree with this, okay? If you're going to have a ridge out west, it should be drier. If you're going to have a trough in the east, it usually will be wetter for across the southeast here. So all of this should be the complete opposite here. Usually the CFS, the other models, have trouble with precipitation a lot. So they're not really that accurate to look into. But with the temperatures there and the 500 millibar temperature anomalies, those they're more accurate than the precipitation from the Jamstack, CFS, and the CAN-SIPS model. So let's look into the CAN-SIPS model here. Again, we're going to go to the North America view. So this is winter here. Now, I like this better. Again, with those ISO bars here, we got a little bit of a ridge going on across parts of the east. West, and a trough. We get to be a very strong trough across the east there. Very nice high pressure there. Positive PDO. I think that's a. See, again, I'm not sure what they called it. I'm guessing that's a positive AO, and this is a negative NAO here. Again, so this is a perfect setup for a brutal winter across the east here, what the CAN-SIPS model is predicting. And I'm interested to see what the precipitation is. Precipitation, again, not really that accurate here. You can tell it should be pretty much the complete opposite here. I do agree with the west, but the east, I just completely disagree with the east. I do agree with the west more than the east here. I think the CAN-SIPS has a little bit of a better handle on it than the CFS does, because the CFS updates every day, while the CAN-SIPS model, Jamstack, they both have a better handle. They update once a month here. So let's kind of move on into the ENSO region. What we currently have here. So we're focusing on this area. Technically, this is still, I think this is about to be a La Nina at this point. We're talking about sea surface temperatures under this black line here, negative 1.6 to probably negative 3.6 degrees Celsius here, which is pretty below average here. We can also note there's actually kind of a little bit of a gradient block going on here. We also got high pressure here. So the PDO looks to be a pretty good setup to have a ridge going on out here, then a trough in the east. We can also note there's actually a little bit of high pressure here, little bit here. So that can probably push the trough a little bit more into the central United States here. Probably have a very active jet stream across the east here. That's stuff we're going to have to keep an eye on. So at this point, this is kind of indication that cold air could stay for these parts of the United States there. I think this is pretty much a La Nina at this point. We're going to see what Monday for the ENSO guys at the Climate Prediction are saying. So basically, this is updated a few days ago. This will update the time I'm making this video. They update this every Monday here. So this is a final El Nino advisory that should be taken away soon. Neutral conditions are present, and the Northern Hemisphere winter 2019 and 20 is giving a 50 to 55% chance. expect that to increase here, and I'll tell you guys why here in just a moment. So what we got right now, back on Monday, we had Nino 4.5 degrees Celsius, that's neutral, 3.4, 1 plus 2. They are both in La Nina conditions for the most part. Well, not really. Usually, Nino 4 is right on the edge of El Nino, but the rest are in neutral here. You can tell by the graphs here. You see the temperatures are going down for Nino 4. It seems like Nino 3.4 and 3 are starting to going up a little bit, but Nino 1 plus 2 is still going down as well. They got all kinds of stuff in here. So this is subsurface temperatures here. So this was back on September 5th here. What we got warmer water started to come up onto the surface in Nino 3.4. We got colder, this is below the surface, by the way. So we got colder water temperatures starting to go up to the surface in Nino 3, Nino 1 plus 2, and Nino 3.4, I think. And basically what this is showing is a potential La Nina trying to come up here. So this is what the winds, so usually the low level winds, what they do, they keep the waters cool there. They may have some more of those somewhere, but so this has been the history here. You can see we're in neutral conditions, averaging out. We are 0.3 degrees Celsius here. We've been in El Nino for a very long time. So this is their prediction here, at least ENSO based on. So winter is right here, DJF. That is winter 3-month average. You can see here, neutral is at about 50 to 55%. We got El Nino starting to creep up a little bit there. But I think neutral conditions could be present here. But if we look into models here, they're showing potential El Nino there, a little bit of a warmer neutral phase. So it looks like at this point we may get to see a potential either neutral or an El Nino type of winter there. We'll go over examples of that. So this is CFS version 2 forecast here. Let's see. Where is winter? Okay. So here's winter. The CFS is showing potential for neutral conditions there. And that's pretty much it from there. So let's go over examples here. So this is La Nina. This is what could potentially happen this fall here. So we got wetter conditions across the northwest. We got colder than average conditions for parts of the northern plains. Wetter conditions across the Ohio Valley. And drier and warmer conditions of parts of the south here. And you can see what the arrow indicates. That's the polar jet stream here. But this is winter here. What could potentially happen there. Let's move on to neutral conditions that could be more than likely here, potentially. You got your polar jet stream going in like this. Wetter conditions parts across the southeast in the Ohio Valley. Colder conditions for parts of the northeast, northern plains, the Great Lakes, and the upper Midwest. And warmer conditions across the west and south. There, that could be a more than likely case scenario. Then here's El Nino here. We got warmer conditions across parts of the northwest and the north. There are drier normal conditions across the Ohio Valley and parts of the Tennessee Valley. And wet and a little bit cooler than average conditions across the south there. That is possible here, but I think neutral conditions could be more than likely. We're not sure, not 100% sure about La Nina just yet, but I think neutral conditions could potentially happen. Then for El Nino. That's also kind of a question mark. That is possible at this time. So yeah, overall, I think we can have a neutral winter just for right now. Things could change later on in the next couple months till first winter month, which is December. So probably expect my last forecast either early December or late November. I'll make a couple more forecast updates in October and November. So yeah, I guess this is our gift for you guys today. Hopefully you enjoyed this winter 2019-2020 forecast. If y'all did like this video, hit that like button. If y'all really do like my channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification you never miss an upload. If y'all guys get any questions about winter 2019-2020, you can put it in the comment section down below. I'll answer you guys all of your guys' questions. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.